Avon. Caledonia. Canisius.
Here.
Geneseo.
Here.
Groveland.
Here.
Lester.
Here.
Lima.
Here.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Here.
North Dansville.
Here.
Nunde.
Here.
Ashen.
Here.
Portage. Sparta.
Here.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Here.
York.
Here.
I'd ask the Austin Supervisor Dwight Knapp to please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had minutes of our last regular meeting available for your consideration in draft form. Does anybody have any corrections or changes they'd like to bring forward? Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion in a second, please.
Move Schuster.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, they're carried. Communications, please, Michelle.
The next conversation with the county will be held on Thursday, May 12th, 2022 at 5:30 PM at the Caledonia Town Hall, 3109 Main Street, Caledonia. Acknowledgement letter from NISAC Executive Director Steve Aquario regarding receipt of resolution number 2022-73 and receipt of a public hearing notice from the Village of Geneseo Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thanks. We have abstract of claims.
Mr. Chairman, I move this abstract of claims and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this abstract of claims? Hearing none, the roll, please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde. Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta. York.
Aye.
Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted.
Next, we have privileges of the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I request privilege of the board for Heather Ferraro, Deputy Director of Planning, for the 2022 Earth Day Award presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Devon.
Thank you, Chairman. It's with great pleasure that I join EMC Chairman Patty Levine to come before the board to help recognize the Earth Day Award by celebrating the 24th anniversary of the EMC Earth Day Award. The award is the council's way of encouraging continued environmental stewardship by recognizing individuals or groups of individuals for outstanding achievements in preserving or improving the Livingston County environment or educating others about the Livingston County environment. Each year, we look forward to what has become an annual tradition, and we certainly appreciate the board's continued support. I'd like to turn the podium over to EMC Chairman Patty Levine.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. In 1979, the Board of Supervisors of Livingston County created the Livingston County Environmental Management Council, also known as EMC. Its charge was to work cooperatively with the Board of Supervisors, local municipalities, and citizens of the county in the protection, preservation, and development of Livingston County's natural resources. The council currently consists of 9 members representing 3 broad constituencies: agriculture, general citizens, and industry and commerce. We're fortunate to have several of those members with us today, and I would ask at this time if they could stand so I could recognize them. In the back corner, we have Paula Smith from Leicester. We have Darlene Niecaster from SUNY Geneseo, Ray Case representing Livonia, and Alex Pierce representing Nunde. And I thank you very much for your contribution to our council. Thank you. EMC completed its 2021 annual report, and it has been provided to board members electronically. It is also available on the EMC website. Highlights include the installation of a pollinator garden at Lorenz Park, educational tours of Letchworth State Park and at Lorenz Park, supporting the Livingston County Community Cleanup activity, and the presenting of the 23rd annual EMC Earth Day Award last year. This year, EMC recognized the 52nd anniversary of Earth Day, a global event that's celebrated annually on April 22nd and is aimed at increasing awareness, protection, and application and appreciation of the Earth's environment. First Earth Day was held in 1970, and at that time, 22 million Americans celebrated clean air, land, and water. Today, more than 1 billion people worldwide participate in Earth Day activities, making it one of the largest civics observances throughout the world. In support of Earth Day, the EMC has established the Livingston County EMC Earth Day Award. The award is intended to recognize individuals, businesses, agencies, or organizations for outstanding achievements in preserving or improving Livingston County environment, or educating Livingston County's citizens on its natural resources. Today, we are celebrating the 24th anniversary of the EMC Earth Day Award. It is a great honor this year that the EMC has selected Richard Thomas as our recipient of this award, and I would ask Mr. Thomas to come to the podium at this time. Well, Mr. Thomas is making his way up here. I will continue. He has had a 32-year professional career in environmental law enforcement with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. In that role, he was charged with protecting the natural resources in the Lebanon County area of Western New York, including Livingston County. As an environmental conservation officer at the DEC, District 8 in Avon, he investigated environmental crimes. And as an undercover agent investigator, he was instrumental in exposing illegal reptile and amphibian black market. Many of his cases have gone on to successful prosecution. Mr. Thomas is known locally for land conservation and protection of his lands in the Wetland Reserve Program. He has created a thriving wetland ecosystem, rich with wildlife. He has cultivated the biodiversity of these lands through careful restoration, resulting in a forever wild 23-acre reserve named White Hawk Marsh. Additionally, Mr. Thomas maintains an active conservation plan for his family's Walnut Woods Farm on Quarry Road that includes a wildlife meadow and pollinator plantings. Maintaining a tree nursery and annual tree plantings are a staple on his property. As a regular speaker at schools and organizations, he inspires and educates students in the community on natural resource conservation. A well-respected educator, he reaches out to the community on a variety of venues, and the community comes to him at the White Hawk Marsh. Upon retirement, Mr. Thomas has continued his passion for environmental appreciation and knowledge through his captivating professional photography business. He shares his artful and expansive photographic collection with others, reaching out far and wide online. I'd like at this time to read a quote from Mr. Thomas. Everyone turns to nature at some point in their life. We need open spaces and returning geese. We need babbling brooks and spring peepers, fall foliage, and the silence of a winter wood. We need nature to rejuvenate us, to help us find calm during chaos in our lives. My hope is that by sharing my images, you will find inspiration to seek out nature as well. The more connected we are to the environment, the healthier our environment will be. EMC commends Mr. Thomas on his impressive work on behalf of Livingston County. His achievements have contributed to the protection and conservation of Livingston County's natural resources and the quality of life for our residents. We are pleased to select him as a resident of Earth Day Ward and thank him very much for his efforts. I'd like to invite Mr. Lefebvre, Chairman of the Supervisors, to come to the podium and to present the Earth Day Award at this time.
Thank you, sir. Told me I just have till 5, so I'll go as quickly as I can. First, I want to say that I deeply appreciate this recognition, especially coming from, my home, which is Livingston County. The town of Caledonia and Livingston County is definitely, my home. That's where I get my sense of place. That's where I enjoy taking most of my photographs. I don't wander too far from what I consider my home ground. I'm especially honored today because I know Livingston County has always been and continues to be good stewards of the environment. I quite often like to speak to people about rights and obligations. And in that context, it's often a conversation about human rights. But here in Livingston County, we think beyond just human rights, and we think about the environment. And I want to encourage us to be a body of people that continues to lead in that sense and know that we have the rights to enjoy our clean air and our clean water, our wildlife and our soils and our open space, but we also exercise our obligations to take care of those resources. We seem to become the dominant species here on the planet, and we really have an obligation to take care of the planet so that it lasts for us. We're directly connected with everything else that's here. We have our indicator species like the spotted turtle. I know of one tiny population in the town of Caledonia. I used to know of many spotted turtles, but at $500 on the illegal market on the internet, they go fast. We have timber rattlesnakes, just a few in the county down along Letchworth Park, and just an absolutely amazing animal that comes out of the hole in the ground in the spring, goes up to 5 miles away, and then months later traces its own scent trail back directly to the same hole. Some of them crossing the Geneseo River and doing so. We have these amazing animals, and then we have the ones that maybe we've taken for granted, like our pollinators and our honeybees and things like that. All of these animals are in trouble, as are we, with the things that we see happening. Whether some of it is man-made or not, we have climate change. And it's good to see that this county and this county's government tends to be a leader in thinking about these things ahead of the ball. So I deeply appreciate that. I wanted you to know that I'm so glad you've honored me with this award today, but I need you folks to know that I really, really appreciate what you do. Probably maybe not the right thing to do to return something when you're being awarded, but I wanted to bring this down here to the government center today. And hopefully it's a photograph of an eagle, and of course our national symbol, and we all look at it as, this is our national symbol, and a lot of us think of social and political reasons to honor the bald eagle, and environmentally it's a tremendous story of the human efforts to bring back a species from near extinction. This picture was taken at my home in Caledonia. So we have bald eagles back here in New York, in Livingston County and in other places. And I thought maybe somewhere we could hang it in the county office. It could be in the men's room. I don't know. The thing in my office. Yeah. Your office would be fine. But the one thing I'm worried about is Becky Schroeder would try to make it a serving tray down at the Board of Elections. You could just keep it away from Becky. Thank you again very much, folks, and I hope everybody has a good spring and summer.
We also this afternoon have some resolutions that are going to require a separate roll call vote.
Mr. Knapp, amending the 2022 Livingston County Budget, Sheriff's Office, there are two.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Authorizing transfer of funds, County Historian.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Any questions or discussion on this transfer? Roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Establishing capital project account for the year 2022, countywide property improvements.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution?
Chairman, just one quick thing. Resolutions numbers 3 through 11, just FYI, these were passed out of Ways and Means Committee. They are the infusion of cash transfers from the rest of the budget into the capital improvement plan that's already been adopted by the board. So the board previously approved the capital improvement plan to call for a series of projects over 5 years, and those projects need funding allotments placed into them. And so these individual transfers, we do roughly in the first quarter or a little bit after the first quarter every year, and make the appropriate transfers necessary to fund the projects. So that's what these transfers are.
Thank you, Ian. Any further discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing capital project account for the year 2022, the Livingston County Sheriff's Office facility.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing capital project account for the year 2022, highway upgrades.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing capital project account for the year 2022, ambulance equipment.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon,
Aye.
Caledonia, Canisius,
Aye.
Geneseo,
Aye.
Groveland,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Lima,
Aye.
Livonia, Mount Morris,
Aye.
North Dansville,
Aye.
Nunde,
Aye.
Ashen,
Aye.
Portage, Sparta,
Aye.
Springwater, West Sparta,
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing reserve account for the year 2022, Board of Elections Equipment Reserve.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increase in capital project account for the year 2022, courthouse upgrades.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increase in capital project account for the year 2022, ITS upgrades.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing capital project account for the year 2022, Livingston County Sheriff's Office facility.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Increasing capital project account for the year 2022, technology strategic planning projects.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Authorizing the chairman of the Livingston County Board of Supervisors to sign the following contract for Livingston County. University of Rochester.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Is there any questions or discussion on this contract? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted. Requesting the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly to authorize Livingston County to continue imposing an additional mortgage recording tax. This is a 2/3 majority vote.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Any questions or discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1552, Absent 488, adopted. Approving apportionment of mortgage tax receipts for the period of October 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution and ask for unanimous consent.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, I'll roll please, Michelle.
Avon.
Aye.
Caledonia. Canisius.
Aye.
Geneseo.
Aye.
Groveland.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Lima.
Aye.
Livonia. Mount Morris.
Aye.
North Dansville.
Aye.
Nunde.
Aye.
Ashen.
Aye.
Portage. Sparta.
Aye.
Springwater. West Sparta.
Aye.
York. Ayes 1522, absent 487, adopted.
I did have one appointment, if you would, please, Michelle.
For the GLOW Workforce Development Board, Robert Soter is appointed for organized labor at the pleasure of the board.
Thank you, Michelle. Ian, do you have any updates for the board this afternoon?
Yes, thanks, Chairman. The first is, as you're aware, the New York State budget has been passed. As state budgets go in relation to county government finances, it wasn't that bad of a budget. Just a couple highlights I wanted to update you on. We've been talking a lot about the diversion of sales tax that the state was doing that otherwise would have come back to localities, so counties, Livingston County. They were able to work through the budget to end the diversion of sales tax for the AIM and for the local distress hospital funds. So both of those totaled up to about almost $700,000 of impact to Livingston County. So that means they took it away when it was in place. So all things being equal, that will be coming back to the county budget as a regular sales tax revenue. Just a note on the state budget, the state's projected to have its largest, cash balance probably ever in its history. It went from state government budget went from a 70 billion with a B projected deficit to a 40 billion with a B projected surplus from from April of 2020 through the present April of 2022. So in that 2-year stretch, obviously with COVID, the infusion of federal stimulus dollars, the economy getting back on track. So that's a huge shift in the state budget. And of course, if there's negative impacts there, that we're going to eventually feel them as well. They repealed the DOT right-of-way tax for expansion of broadband services for our Light Up Livingston project and all the broadband efforts in the county. That was a big deal. They included the money for the downtown revitalization initiative again, which is a big deal for us as well. They increased the Native American compact gaming revenues, but that's not really applicable to us until such time as they resolve the full dispute. I'm happy to say that has pretty much been resolved. We should actually get the casino monies that we've been waiting on for many years to actually start flowing this week to the county. And that is in arrears to the tune of 4 or 5 years. So it totals up to about $1.5 million. So we're going to get a check at some point in time soon for the outstanding monies owed the county. There's some more cybersecurity money. The Dwyer program, which is the Veterans Suicide Awareness and Recreational Offering program that we've been fighting for our share of that program funding for some time. I know our state senators and our assemblywoman fought for us for that as well. We did get $100,000 in the state budget for that program, so that's a big deal. There is the healthcare worker and mental hygiene worker state bonus program. So it's kind of a confusing title, but it actually includes counties. Includes a lot of different entities, but it includes counties. It's a state paid for bonus program. So the county will be required to participate in that program. For us, we're looking at the fine print of what the process will be, but you're looking at certain income thresholds, but most everybody, because it's anywhere below $125,000 if you're in that direct or indirect healthcare worker status. So for our divisions or departments, mental health, public health, CNR, EMS, so countywide ambulance, and we're not sure of others, but we're kind of checking to see what others might qualify under that. So that was another piece of the budget that was important for us. So lots of other stuff in there, but that's the stuff I went over with Ways and Means that I wanted to go over with the full board today. Other items, I'm doing a State of the County presentation tomorrow at the Chamber of Commerce, tomorrow morning. The teen recognition event is tonight. It's at Willow Creek this year, so it's at the place in Lakeville, so don't go to Mount Morris again to the river again. Usually is, we switched a few things here and there. I said the casino money, and then opioid money was the other thing that made the news. The opioid settlement hit the paper last week. We are part of that opioid settlement, so Livingston County is going to receive, in the first tranche of payments, $420,000. That's related to lawsuits of opioid distributors, marketers, and manufacturers. Counties participated in the lawsuits. We were one of the first ones on board upstate, and that in turn has led to a win for the plaintiffs. And the county was part of that package. It's one of about 6 that are hanging out there. I would anticipate that'll be a domino effect for the other 5 that are outstanding, but that money will come back. It has to be specifically targeted for uses related to what the opioid impact was for county government. So public health, mental health, jail corrections, recidivism efforts, and CASA Trinity, so actual treatment related programs for drug and alcohol programs. So that's the update. If anybody has any questions for me, happy to answer them.
Any other business to come before the board this afternoon? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Dan's not here, so somebody better step up.
Lester. Lester.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Meeting stands adjourned.
I'm being back up.